Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of Holistic Health Happy Hour. I am one of your hosts, Maria Schumacher of Venus-13.com and daily astrology reports on radical astrology and um, another page on Facebook that I can't remember the name of right now because I'm old. Cosmic
Radical
Reflections, that's
Cosmic
it.
Reflections, yes. Mercury retrograde has nothing to do with age. Mercury
or
retrograde.
that or that that was Mercury retrograde in action, people. And we are here to talk about the full moon that is coming up on April 23rd. But before that, let my lovely co-hostess introduce herself to you all.
Hello, my friends. I'm Julie Sherwood of Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching, where I provide all sorts of mind, body, spirit wellness to help you on your journey. And ironically, we're going to have a little conversation about empowerment today. And one of the things I offer is a life path empowerment package. So if you want to know more about that, hit me up, yourbesthopeswc.com. And here we are. So let's talk about a full moon, my friend.
Yes, a full moon. Okay, so just a couple seconds of astrology 101. A full moon is when the sun and moon are directly opposite one another. That's why the moon is full, right? Because it's getting the full light of the sun cast upon it without the earth between them at all. Yay. So there, astrology 101. In this case, the last full moon was in Virgo. That means the moon was transiting the sign of Virgo. And today, because Virgo is a huge sign, the moon is also in Virgo. So we've had 2 Virgo full moons in a row. This one closer to the end of the constellation, in the goddess's feet. The sun, however, has just entered the constellation of Aries. So that's new. Do you want to talk about that, Julie?
Well, it's interesting because we've had a lot of activity in Pisces lately. Excuse me. So that's all been that watery surrender, the compassionate connection to the all that is. And now that the sun, with its fiery energy, has just stepped a few degrees into Aries, now we're ready to get that momentum going forward, taking those steps to take some action on some of the things we learned from the last, well, the lunar, I'm sorry, the solar eclipse, and then the last full moon. I think just that full moon to full moon, there was a lot going on in that time frame. So now we're ready to start some momentum. Of course, after Mr. Mercury goes direct in a few more days, but that's another side note.
I think you got momentum almost despite him. So
Yes.
yes, thank you for that. And um, the the way we talk about new moons and full moons, new moons are the initiation of a cycle, and full moons are sort of the checkpoint, the waypoint in that cycle. So this last cycle started with a bang, one could say. It started with the eclipse, which was a new in at the tail end of Pisces. And then a couple of days ago, we had the conjunction everyone's been waiting for, Jupiter and Uranus conjoined. I mean, between that, we had Mars and Saturn conjoin. We had Venus and Mercury conjoin. Just everybody conjoin everybody. So we had like conjunctia palooza for about 10 days since the last new moon. So there's been a lot. And so this full moon at the end of Virgo is, I think, is going to feel really nice. And it's also very important because a lot of people, including us, have talked about this last new moon as the beginning of the fool's journey, right?
Yes.
In a lot of ways, we were made new in Pisces as the sun traveled through Pisces with all of its friends, because pretty much everybody and his cat's been in Pisces,
Yeah.
right? So there's this real sense of being made new in the waters of Pisces, letting go of all of the old patterns old stuff, old ways of being, old wounds because we've had Chiron there,
Mhm.
old values because we've had Venus there, old ways of thinking because we've had Mercury there, and then we've had Mercury back again because he went retrogrades. So that kind of thing, that really um, letting it go
Mhm.
in Pisces, and now the self, the fool, if we equate it to the tarot card,
Mhm.
begins his journey new, free of all that. Talk about the fool card for a second, Julie.
So the fool, if you remember, go back to our last recording for the new moon, and we used the different tarot cards in there. And the fool, he's got his little pack, and this is the Rider Waite deck, the traditional deck. He's got the pack on his shoulder, and he's kind of laissez-faire, and he's just looking like he's just on this little journey that he really doesn't care what happens. And there's this cliff where his foot is about ready to step off, but he's not looking at it. And if I remember right, there's a little dog back there hanging out behind him, watching what he's going to do. So the question is, when you step off that cliff, are you going to go into the abyss, or will you just take off like a bird in flight? And so it's that idea that you can take some risks or have some fun. There he is. There's the little dog. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
But by the same token, you have to consider the fact that if you don't take that step forward, you are not going to go anywhere. So
That's it.
it's that,
That's
and
it.
so that those first few degrees of the sun in Aries is that kind of momentum, because Aries is all about taking action, right?
Mm-hmm. And new beginnings.
Yes.
Um, so Aries is about new beginnings. A new moon is about new beginnings. And a lot of times to do that, we have to let go of everything except that which we need to move forward, right? Otherwise, we just won't go. If we're still burdened by all of the stuff that has burdened us before, I don't even want to say the past necessarily, because
Right.
it can be fear of the future. It can be dislike of ourselves. It can be a flaw in thinking that we don't have everything we have. So it's really exciting, and there's just a beautiful innocence about that we all need. So there's that potential energy. Virgo opposite, we can almost liken at this point with Virgo in the end stages of the moon in the end stages of Virgo, who is a school kind of. There's Virgo school, right? As bodies go through Virgo school, they learn, they progress, they refine,
Right.
they have lessons. And here we are at the end of it. And so here's our little Virgo moon. And if you look at the dog there, the dog is serving a couple of purposes. Number one, he's with you on the journey. He's with the fool, like, hey, buddy, I'm here. But he's also alerting you at the same time that, okay, you might want to watch where your feet are, and you might want to pull your pants up.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Yep. Yep.
So, so a tendency, or at least, one shadow side of Virgo can be just a little too, oh, I have to have everything perfect before I go, right? Gotta make sure everything's perfect. My son is the fool, and I'm ready to go off on my journey and experience new things and start anew. And Virgo might be like, oh, but first everything's got to be perfect. And
Hmm.
I don't think that's in this case the best energy to lean into. Do you, Julie?
I totally agree. And especially as you were saying, we're in the latent degrees of Virgo. So you've
Mhm.
learned the lessons, you've done the Virgo schooling. You can trust. The moon is also that internal emotional trust. Trust that you have what you need to take the step. Okay, so if you don't have the right size shoes, you still have shoes, you know? If you
Right.
don't the perfect colored pants, you still have pants. It's okay. And the little dog is also the one that says, "Hey, go have some fun too." You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And remember that I'm here with you, right?
Yes.
So, and so don't worry about things because you've got your moon with you. You've got your inner guidance with you.
Yes,
If you need to course correct, you're gonna know the minute you step out that door and feel the breeze on your legs, you're gonna realize you forgot to put on pants.
right,
Okay.
right.
it's
Well,
it's
if we talk about the word mistake, I love the etymology of that word, the
Mhm.
breakdown of it. It's not I've screwed up, I've, done something horrible. It's a mistake. So do another take, you know? I mean, obviously, if you've done the due diligence of Virgo, you've got what you need. Trust it.
yes, yes.
Trust it,
Yep.
right? So,
And
and
so
I
when
just
we
there's a visual here with the moon pretty much by itself in Virgo, and all the other friends are completely opposite, sans a few of them, and it's like the little dog back there, right?
That's
Just
right.
doing his thing. So, yeah, it's
Yep.
pretty amazing stuff. So, but we're going to take this journey, and as we do for the full moons, we like to for any of them, either whether it's the new moon or the full moon, we like to make this a little bit more relevant to each of you. And so with the new moon, we tend to do it likening or relating to your house, like where is this new moon taking place in your chart, which house? Then when we do the full moon, we liken it to your natal moon. So I'm a Taurus moon by birth. So how do I, as a Taurus moon, experience this Virgo full moon? So if that helps align it for you. So that if you don't know where your natal moon is, just let us know and we'll help you figure that out.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So
I was going to say before we dive into the each of the moons,
uh
do we want to talk about that T square?
yes. Okay. More astrology. So one one super interesting feature of this full moon that really sets it apart is that it is happening in square to Pluto. Now, I know after last year, we're kind of bored with squares to Pluto, right? Because we had the node square to Pluto all last year, and that's all we heard about. But in this case, what it seems to signal is that this is a journey the of empowerment. This is a
Right,
new journey of the empowered individual. This is, I think, where we can stop leaning on the transformative aspects of Pluto and start leaning into the power
right.
or the empowering aspects of Pluto because we've done, the sun is now in Aries. He's done that transformative work for the time being.
Right.
Now he's going to take that new empowerment and go off, hopefully with pants, into a new adventure.
Oh, the visuals. Oh, the visuals.
I mean, come on, who of us hasn't forgotten to put on pants before they leave the house?
Yes, yes.
Really?
Well,
Not
in
everybody
Pluto
else?
being in that first degree of Capricorn, so if you kind of look down at the bottom part of the wheel there, you'll see that it says first degree of Capricorn is where Pluto is. So he's literally just got 1 foot in there. And mind you, he's going to go back into Sagittarius later in the year. But what's really interesting about that is he spent all this time coming through Sagittarius. He's just stepping into Capricorn. We had this beautiful lunar eclipse and solar eclipse. So now that we have gone through a lot of the transformative processes that even are invited by Pisces, now we have the empowered individual getting ready to create the foundational structures anew
Yes.
of Capricorn. And if
Yes.
we each come with our own individual empowerment and move into our collective society with that perspective, then the structures we build will be even better.
Yes, because you have empowered individual meeting empowered individual in a co-equal way. So there's
Right,
no tension. There's no, there's no power play
right.
involved.
Domination, right,
Right. Right.
right.
And it's, you know how that feels when you meet somebody that you consider your complete equal. There's something so refreshing and relaxing about it. Then you can really create things because you're each coming at it from a yin yang place. Even if it's
Mhm.
two men or if it's two women, you're still, you know, co-equal, co-creating.
Yes. Well, and recognizing the individual in that process. You know, I might have a lot of knowledge in X and you have a lot of knowledge in Y, but coming together, imagine the empowerment of
Right,
each of us with our equal knowledge coming together, right?
right,
You know,
right.
skills, abilities, whatever word you want to use. And this goes back to the whole thing of Pisces, having the string in the middle, holding each side in an equal tension. And that's, I think, the piece we've learned all through Pisces. Come in with that as your empowerment.
Yes, yes.
So there you go.
And again, because we've got now Virgo, an earth sign, and Capricorn, another earth sign, activated here, it seems that part of the wisdom of this is, all right, you're an empowered individual. So, what are you going to need from a practical standpoint
Yes.
to be able to make this journey? And, a healthy body is thing number one. So if you're an empowered individual, if you want to place to house and move all of that power, you've got to have a healthy body to move around in.
Mhm.
So we've been spending a lot of time on our spirit, right? Because of Pisces Palooza for the last while. Now I think it's time.
I'm going to remember that one for next time.
I'm
Pisces.
here all week. Um, so now it's time to be looking to kind of get up out of the deep waters and get back onto earth, right? And it's like, okay, so what does
And,
my body need in addition to pants? What does my body need to do this journey? And our brilliant Julie has come up with some
well, and,
suggestions.
and I was going to say the sun in Aries gives energy to that because Aries is about the individual body, the self, the one, your physical structure,
Mhm.
right? How do you
You're just
appear?
noticing everything about yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's energy in it.
Yeah.
Mind you, everything we are offering today in terms of ideas, suggestions, things to explore do not constitute medical advice, health advice, or anything like that. That's our disclaimer. Whatever resonates with you, please take with you, do your own exploration and talk to your own care providers if it's something that resonates with you in that regard. So there you go. We're putting those little disclaimers out there. We're just offering these opportunities for you to take the journey to explore and
Yes.
empower yourself.
Yes, if something sounds good to you, talk to your professional practitioner about, excuse me,
Yes,
about it.
yes. So on that
Yay.
note, so basically what I've looked at together with my dear co-hostess is the idea that we again take where your natal moon is, and there's a correlating body structure piece of you that correlates to that moon, and then there's also systems of your body, right? So, and we'll explain what all of that means as we go. And then there are some, things like Bach flowers, herbal teas, particular foods you might engage or put into your diet a little bit more to help you with this full moon energy. So again, we have that earthy sign of Virgo with the moon there, and we have the fire of the sun in Aries. So it's how do you manage that earthy, fiery energy if you're an Arian natal moon?
Hmm.
So the natal moon in Aries means you want to focus on your head, your face, and your brain as physical structures. So what I would invite you to do is just put some conscious attention on that area of your body as the full moon perfects. Does my head feel? Do I have headaches? Do I feel like I'm all clenched up in my face? Do I feel like I've got some good brain health? Again, the physical piece of it. And then the systems that go with that are your adrenals, and your muscular system. So how do your adrenal glands feel? Are you getting in that fight or flight? If you're constantly in fight or flight, you want to give some attention to those adrenal glands. And your muscular system, do you have some sore muscles going on there? Right?
Hmm.
And then a couple of ideas for that. And then I'd love to hear what my co-host says. And I have to look at my little notes here because I do not memorize everything. Some of the foods are things like tomatoes, leeks, lemons. Your B complex is really useful. And then the Bach flowers, I would say heather. That one kind of is calling to me, heather. So those are kinds of ways that you might consider if your natal moon was in Aries, how you might manage this fool's journey of the full moon.
Yep. And now if your natal moon is in Aries, this is probably very, very strong for you
Right.
because you're going to be in between Jupiter and the sun, or your sun might even be conjunct the sun, right? I'm sorry, or your moon might even be conjunct the sun. So this is a collective full moon, but a personal new moon
Right.
for you. So there's a lot of moon energy along with this. And adrenal gland can kick in, right? Can get
Yes.
overworked in times of intense emotion. That's sort of that where water meets fire is adrenaline.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just tune into that.
Mhm.
Taurus moon, that would be me. So it's neck, throat, and voice, and then your vertebrae in your back. So in your neck. And so the systems would be the thyroid and the metabolic system. So good ways to support that is, especially for those of us that live in very dry climates, is make sure you're staying hydrated. You know, you feel yourself clearing your throat all the time, your voice gets scratchy or dry. You get that hydration in there. And other suggestions are your lettuces, berries, and avoid sugars. So if that's interesting, some of us may not be able to do that very easily, but maybe just moderate it. So again, you don't have to be the complete Virgo moon where everything has to be perfect. Just tune it down a little bit. See how your body feels. That's the other thing with the moon in Virgo is Virgo rules your daily health, your routine health. So trust your intuition, that moon intuition, that if something doesn't feel right, or you kind of go, yeah, I'm not so enthused about the idea of putting some lettuces in my diet today, then tune into that.
Yeah.
Listen to what your body is saying. And then the Bach flower remedy, I would say chestnut bud. And I've done the red chestnut before. That's really good. So
How
there's
do
your
we use these remedies, Julie, just in case somebody is not familiar with the Bach flower?
So Bach flowers are, they're basically a tincture that are synthesized from the flower itself. So it's a liquid in a drop, and you can find them online, all sorts of places. Use reputable sources for good quality products. And you usually just do like a tincture under your tongue, and you're bringing in the essence of that
And
flower's homeopathic remedy, if you will. And again, disclaimer, we're not offering this as medical advice, but if you want to consider trying it, explore, see what makes sense to you. So,
yay.
yeah,
Thank you.
yes.
If your natal moon is in Taurus, you might be semi-sextile or semi-square to this new moon, just because of the proximity. Um, your moon might be, well, yeah, you might be semi-sextile or semi-square to the sun
Hmm.
at this point. And again, because we've got like earth, and fire happening, hydrate, that water is missing from
Hmm.
this. Yeah. Water
Yeah.
and air are definitely missing from this. So keep hydrated and take some time to dream. I-
Yes. Yes. And it's interesting because my natal moon is 5 degrees Taurus. So I'm actually only 7 degrees away from the sun. So it's pretty darn close to conjunct because I'm in the early degrees of Taurus. Whereas as you're talking, these other aspects would be a little bit later in Taurus too. So for me, it
uh,
might be just a bit of a new moon feel too.
yeah, you're only what? Yeah, you're only a few degrees away from
The sun.
Jupiter.
Oh, that too. Details, details.
Sorry,
Um,
couldn't help
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so Gemini. Shall we move to Gemini? So
Yes,
Gemini, as
if
you can imagine, is the twins. So oftentimes the associated body parts are things that have two. So like your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your lungs. So basically your upper body, right? And so how are you taking care of your hands on a daily basis? I think that's something we don't think a lot about because we use them so much, but do we actually take time to take care of them? When's the last time you've had a little hand massage? When's the last time that you just did some flexing and strengthening in your hands? We do a lot of stuff on our phones and computers now. Our hands are getting used in different ways. So really tune into that. And then the systems are respiratory and nervous systems. So your lungs, take those deep breaths as you hydrate your body. Just also bring in that beautiful air energy, because that's the other one that's missing is air. Bring in the air into your lungs. Breathe very deeply all the way down to your belly as you look at ways to just strengthen your lungs. Even imagine your hands pulling that energy in. See, so you can kind of combine both in that regard. So, and then the little remedies here, and then I would love to hear your insights, my dear hostess friend. Again, lettuces are up there, apricots, peaches, so your stone fruits would be something to add in there. And then Bach flowers, ooh, impatiens or clematis. So that could be a really interesting Bach flower to explore. And then your B complexes again would be useful as well. So just again, look at different ways. You know, you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of expensive herbals or tinctures or things like that. Just like I said, go get some lettuces in your diet. Bring in some stone fruits. You know, even if you don't have the fresh ones available, you can get dried apricots. There's different ways to bring these different nutritive support aspects into you. So any other thoughts on Gemini?
Um, you know, other than this is another one where water is absent, so hydrating, but it also seems like fruit juices might be a great,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you could juices and smoothies could be really supportive at
Yeah,
this. I
just
know that like lemon juice is so good for your throat if you're
yes.
like lemon tea, and the certain you know for vertebrae don't certain fruit juices also help support like this is me not being a doctor, right? Because I don't even know the words for stuff, but the suppleness of your spine and your joints, like
Oh, yeah, there you
yeah,
go. There you go. Okay, yeah. And
yeah.
again, shoulders, you know, the other thing too is also envision what energetic effects you're having. Do you feel like your shoulders have the weight of the world on them? Or are you really letting that go? So look at energetic potentials too. You know, what are you holding on to? Do your hands feel tense and tight? Are you holding on to something? Let it
Mhm.
go. So imagine the energetic medicine, if you will, to help support the health. Um, okay, Cancer. So Cancer is also related to the mother archetype. So it's also related to female genitalia, breasts, the stomach. So it's the digestion, and your salivary glands. So how are you taking care of that little cocoon of you? And if you're a lady that has had, you know, gynecological issues, maybe this is the time to really tune into how can I take care of myself in that regard. If your cycle is erratic, maybe it's time to tune in to honoring your personal cycle. I've talked about that in different realms before. Oftentimes we're go, go, go because our society calls for it, but really your personal cycle may ask for you to retreat, rest, and relax.
Right.
So think about that too. Um, so yeah, and digestion too. What are you taking in that supports your body's ability to digest? And cancer is also about your emotions. Are you digesting your emotions or are you holding on to them? Are
Mhm.
they eating you alive? You've heard that expression before, right? You
Yeah.
know, my anger is eating me alive. Are you letting that anger out? You know, not directed at anybody, but you know, if you got to go stomp your feet like a petulant child, do it.
Mhm.
Let that energy go. And that would be the fiery sun helping you with that. So,
If your moon is in Cancer, you might be square to all this. Like you might be completing the mystic square in this.
mhm.
So you would be opposite Pluto. So your emotional capability is very powerful right now. You're like the balance point. Your moon could be the thing that creates a mystic square, a really balanced
Right,
aspect set to all of this. Because as you see, water is kind of the one thing that was a little bit under in this group.
right.
So yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, and as you can imagine, one of the supportive foods is eggs. I mean, that's
Ah!
the reason. It makes sense. Also, leeks, raisins, dairy, citrus, grapes, those kinds of things would be very supportive. Peppermint. Now, peppermint I know is a good digestive. Ginger is also good for your digestion. So consider, incorporating those if you're having some difficulty. And then now this is interesting. The Bach flower is honeysuckle. So that would be, and what's really funny is I have a honeysuckle hedge and I've got birds nesting in there right now, getting ready to hatch eggs. I mean, maybe they'll hatch on the full moon. Ooh, that would be wild. Um, and then your calcium and any digestive enzymes, those would all be really supportive. And calcium too, especially for women who may also be pregnant. So you may want to consider, again, not medical advice, but look at making sure you get a good amount of calcium in your diet too. So that's the
And
way you
and
answer people's
and I
concerns.
like what you said, Julie, about beginning to pay attention to your cycles, beginning to honor your womanly cycles more if you still have them. Um, those of us who don't and have a moon here might be noticing new cycles
Right,
in your body,
right,
right?
right.
So,
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Leo, Leo, Leo. So your spine, not just the individual vertebrae, but the actual spinal column, your heart, your bone marrow, those again, the physical pieces, and then your spleen and your cardiovascular system. Gee, let's talk about Regulus, the heart of the lion. Of
yeah,
course, the heart's going to be involved in this.
yes,
So, this is a really good opportunity to tune into not only your heart beating in terms of its actual physical ability, but how are you in terms of your heart's energy? Are you really honoring that? Is your heart in it? Is your heart in taking that fool's journey? Is your heart happy with the way things are going for yourself? Tune into what your heart is telling you, especially if you're a Leo moon. I mean,
yes.
Leo moons are, my guy is a Leo moon, one of the most generous, kindest people because that Leo heart just wants to make sure to share with everybody.
Mhm.
So, but also make sure you don't deplete yourself in the process, right?
Yes.
Um, so then the items here would be, so your bran, your oats, nuts, eggs again, believe it or not, cocoa, chocolate. Now that makes my heart happy.
Nice. Yes.
Um, and then also the Bach flower. I'm going to pick elm in this one. There's just a bunch of them, but I'm picking the ones that seem to be calling
Oh,
to
I
me.
like
Elm,
that. Yeah.
elm. Yeah. And then your magnesiums. Any magnesium would be helpful for because again, this helps the conductivity of things too. Get that blood flow going, cardiovascular. So what other thoughts are ringing true for you if you think about the heart and the
Well,
cardio?
I also, if your moon is in Leo, you might be in trine to the sun
Mm,
during this process. And I know, I mean, it's a full moon, and I'm focusing more on the sun, but you might be trine and sextile. You might be trine to the sun and sextile to the moon at this. So there's a lot of support for following your heart, right?
right.
It almost your heart is supporting this fool's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Support it. You're very supported in whatever you want to initiate right now. And that moon sextile can be a real creative opening for bringing in more of that heart
Yeah.
energy. And yeah,
Yeah. And again, Virgo is about that health too. So it might be
yep,
an opportunity for you to do some really wonderful things that take care of you.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Being
The
and
and
Virgo,
a new exercise routine might be exactly what you do.
right.
The Leo moon might feel like getting out there and starting to pump the iron or start jogging or start, that could be literally what happens is you just want to get out there and do.
Cardio health, right?
Yeah,
Cardio health. Do your
get your heart
cardio.
pumping. Hmm.
Yep.
How's about
Virgo.
Virgo, Mama?
Well, Virgo moon, Virgo moon, Virgo moon. So abdomen, again, as the physical part of your body, not necessarily the digestive system. Although in this particular case, it is your small intestine, so it is part of your digestive. Your solar plexus, and then your pancreas and the digestive system in that regard, not your stomach, but like after you've eaten your food, then how does your body absorb its nutrients? And the small intestine is very instrumental in how your body absorbs the nutrients too. So are you taking in things that really support your nutritional health? So if you're missing something in your repertoire of things that you do to stay healthy and feel good, this might be a really good time to think about that. Am I having good digestion? Do I feel good after I eat what I eat? Or do I feel kind of bloaty and stuffy and or run down, no energy? How do you feel after you've had a good meal? And is it in balance? Do you have, and what may be good for Maria may not be good for me, right? And vice versa. So what is good for you? Tune into that. Um, and then the items here are figs, one of my favorites, olives, sprouts, greens, dates, nuts. So you can have yourself a little fig party there with your dates and nuts and your crackers and a little glass of wine, maybe, perhaps. And then your Bach flowers, crabapple. That's
Oh,
interesting. Crabapple. So maybe think about how that could support your digestive health and your abdomen, your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is also your power center. I am able. So just imagine infusing that power center with all of these wonderful supportive options that you could have for that. And this could be a moon on moon for you, depending on where your natal moon is located.
yes,
So the
yes,
intensity.
yes. This could be a real personal new moon, which suggests to me that you might want to undergo a cleanse.
Ah,
This might spark the need to just clean things out, right?
mm-hmm.
To cleanse and clear. Again, this is me not being a doctor. This is
No,
me just sort of following the astrology of it all.
yeah.
And what other smarter people than me have written down in books, because reading is awesome. But yeah, you, depending on where your moon is in Virgo, she's such a huge sign. You could be anywhere from, nearly sextile to conjunct this
Yep.
moon.
Yep.
So, so either way, it's going to be pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also across from the Pisces party, right?
Yes. Yes.
If your natal moon is in Virgo, then you've been opposite all of Pisces for this time. And this journey might start for you with a clean and a zero, a start from zero in your body might be exactly what you're looking for, what you're moved to do.
And it could be a new health regimen because Virgo
Yeah,
rules again that daily routine health. This might
yeah,
be the cleanse, may very well be, you know what? I haven't been really good about taking care of my health lately, so I'm going to clean out what doesn't work, in the
yes.
practical, applicable sense, not necessarily just in the physical sense. And this could be a time to look at that. And
Mhm.
really, again, tune into what your body is telling you. We've got so much coming at us about you need, you need, you need. But oftentimes, what we think we need isn't what our bodies tell us we need. So, really use that internal moon energy to just tune in and listen.
Yeah, which you Virgo moons should hear loud and clear.
Yeah,
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 it's
absolutely. Yep. And the sun is calling you to take that action now, really to get some energy behind it.
yes, yeah. Tune into yourself. So there's lots of action there. What's it like for us Libras, Jujubee?
Libra, my dear friend, as you are, a Libra moon. So the small of your back, so your lower back, your kidneys, and your bladder and ureter. So basically another elimination system. And then your thyroid again, because the thyroid helps, move things around in the metabolic sense. And
Yep.
then also your, again, the urinary system. So this is an elimination process. This is, it's funny because as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about Virgo is the discernment energy, right? Taking all the information and throwing away the chaff from the wheat. Well, now that you've known what that is, it's time to eliminate what doesn't work and put things back into the balance of Libra.
At least in the water sense.
In the water sense, right? It's one of the systems, right?
Mhm.
So, and here we are again, back to water. Flush the system, hydrate well,
Yes.
you
Yep.
know. Are you tuning into actually not only drinking the liquids? Yes, a Hasman too. Whoops, there it is. Is your
Good.
body absorbing it? Do you feel like you're getting enough? Maybe you need some electrolytes to help balance that water intake and not flush all the good stuff out beyond the allowance of things to be absorbed, right?
Right.
Um, and so a celery is great for that because celery's got a lot of water content.
I
Uh,
love celery. Oh,
yeah,
yay.
yeah. So celery, you can get that in there. And then ironically, I just noticed this. The very first thing listed is water.
Ah,
So there you go. Celery, apples, spinach, radishes, and then here we are with sweet chestnut for the Bach flower remedy, and then iodine. Iodine is another supplement that you can get in kelp form. So that helps your body retain its internal cellular moisture, right? So this is,
does
and so,
it?
yes, and it
Oh,
also helps your metabolic. Iodine supports your thyroid.
yes, it
So
does. That I
yeah,
know. Mhm.
that, we've heard that before. So the thing is, you could be drinking gallons and gallons of water, but if you're flushing everything out, your body hasn't had a chance to absorb it. So you want to consider that as well. So that is also supportive of your, your urinary system. You got to get rid of it, but you got to also hold what you need.
Sorry, did an ambulance go by?
Oh, I thought maybe Libra Moon wanted to say something.
No, 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 no. Other than it's ironic because I am hypothyroid, so I have a thyroid imbalance.
Mhm.
Interesting that that's endemic of Libra, or at least, you know, paired with Libra moon
Yeah, yeah, it's an area of your
associated.
health to pay attention to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
And as you're saying that, me as the Taurus moon, I have shoulder issues and I've had some hand issues come up. So it's interesting. So,
Yep. There you go.
um,
It's Libra moons are, again, we're kind of right next to it, in an applying place.
mhm.
Well, yeah, at least the new moon would be coming our way. So it's funny that, you know, Libra moons are so sensitive. I always just find it funny that it's an air sign, right?
Yeah.
Because I always think it should be a water sign. So I think that water is a really good suggestion in this case too, just making sure that you are hydrated. And it's funny because noticing how you absorb water is something that I wouldn't have thought of until just now. But are you drinking enough water? Okay, fine. Are you absorbing any of it?
Hmm. Yeah. It's interesting because we've been again told drink your, 8-ounce glasses of water a day as a general rule, but again, tune into what you need. Me
Yeah,
living
you know,
in the
well,
desert, I need more. Maria being
if
a Libra moon may need it in a different way.
may need it, or I may need something different than water. Like you say, if I'm drinking 8 ounce glasses a day and I'm peeing out 12 24 ounce glasses, then something is not
Exactly.
happening, right?
Right.
So, is your skin hydrated? Is like, what is your body telling you? Is your body telling you that you're absorbing enough water no matter how much you're drinking?
Yep,
If not,
exactly.
then there's a disconnect between the drinking and the absorbing, and all the drinking in the world is good if it's not getting into your body. So it will be interesting to look into how water gets into the body, what prevents that kind of thing if you feel like that's out of balance.
Yeah, exactly. And again, with Chiron and Mercury in Pisces, even though Mercury's in retrograde, it helps us with these intuitive messages, right?
Yeah.
Mercury, the communicator, Chiron, the healer, Pisces, the intuition. So really trust that when in your gut, pun intended,
Ah, God.
doesn't feel right? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't think so, you know?
Mhm.
Scorpio, here we are. So Scorpio is about the large intestine, so we're in a different elimination process, which would make sense for Scorpio, actually. Um, again, the bladder is sweat glands, the male genitalia, and then the reproduction and elimination systems of the large intestine. So again, we're in the elimination process, which with scorpionic energy, you're excavating, you're pulling up what's hidden, and it's time to get rid of what doesn't work,
Mhm.
right? So we go back to supporting your digestion, and this might be an area where you really look at things like probiotics and other gut biome health, because this is, I mean, nobody wants to talk about taking a what, but it's important. If your body doesn't function at that level, you are going to have issues. And
Mhm.
so, really tune into the things that work for you. So some suggestions. Well, the first thing it says here is avoid anything in excess. So, I mean, there's something to be said for that.
Have
Believe it
they
or
met
not,
Scorpio?
yeah, we're
I'm
talking about
sorry, but
Scorpio. Yeah, we are. We're talking about Scorpio.
yeah, and
Scorpio
that is
moons.
avoid anything in excess. Okay,
Yeah, Scorpio moons.
that'll be easy
Prunes.
for you. Do that.
Yep. Prunes, because we've all heard prune juice is a good laxative, natural laxative. So, right, get that stuff out of your body. Fibers, of course. And then cabbage, your cruciferous fruits, or fruits, vegetables. Your cruciferous vegetables are very supportive of the intestinal tract. So it really, again, if that resonates with you, you may be somebody who can't process that stuff and it may not be good for you. So if I say that and you go, ugh, trust it, trust it, try something different. It's okay. And then the other pieces are calendula tea, passion flower tea are very supportive. And then I'm going to say chicory for the Bach flower remedies. Yeah, chicory. So think about that. Again, if you're having, and again, digestion can also be an energetic thing. Are you digesting the emotions? Are you holding things in? Do you clench your belly when something comes your way, or do you allow for the flow of those emotions? Because if you're a Scorpio moon, especially, you can really feel this pretty deeply. I mean, literally, physically deeply. So
Yes.
tune into that. What can I let go of?
Yeah. I
Let go of that shit.
yeah, like, oh, that's it.
Literally.
Yeah. It could be. Now I don't have enough data on this, but it it seems to me that it is likely that Scorpios have it's like their emotional state is directly tied to their bowels, right? You can tell when you're upset about something because you're constipated. You can tell when you've kind of let go of something because you're no longer constipated, right? Then things flow. So how your bowels are working is almost a direct indication of the emotional health of the Scorpio,
Mm-hmm.
which is just an interesting thing.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. Scorpio is a water sign, right? And it is next to Libra and it's very tied to Libra. So that balanced water is something that you've really got to watch out for. And that so yeah, Libra has the urinary tract of it and Scorpio has the bowel tract. In ancient times, the claws of the scorpion are now what are the scales of the Libra. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
so the constellations were a little bit different. There was more Scorpio and less Libra at one point. So,
And the fact that they're both about elimination, right? You
right.
know, get rid of what doesn't work. The other thing too is that it does, those of you with men with a moon in Scorpio, it's all about your male reproductive health. So, I know you guys out there, and I'm gonna just overgeneralize, and if this doesn't fit you, just ignore me. You gotta talk about your stuff. If your stuff ain't working, go get it covered. Take care of it. Don't hide it. You gotta take
Get
care of your stuff.
your prostate checked,
Yes.
please.
Yes. And
Yes.
actually, believe it or not, what I learned from somebody who teaches Iyengar yoga is if you sit with your feet together in the butterfly pose, that actually is very good for both men and women for blood flow to the pelvic area. So men who, especially aging men, if you have prostate health issues, sit like that for a couple minutes. You don't have to be like the perfect flexible one, but you can bring your feet together and put your, bend your knees in a butterfly pose, and that helps just bring some flow into that area. So that's something you can do, or nobody will even be the wiser if you're sitting there doing it, if you want to keep it hidden, but you
Yeah.
got to talk about your stuff. You just got to take care of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we talked about the remedies there.
Yeah.
So, Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus, we had to do a little bit of our own homework on, because unfortunately, a lot of the resources we have only deal with 12 signs. We deal with 13 constellations. But Ophiuchus is all about the healing,
Yes.
because the ruling planet or ruling body, as I see it, and as Maria sees it as well, is Chiron. So the wounded healer. How do you heal if you have an Ophiuchus moon? So we really thought that this plays into your cells, the literal atomic level of the cells, the mitochondria, the functionality of the cells as a physical manifestation, right? And then your system would be your lymphatic system, because it heals the invaders. Anybody who's coming into the party that doesn't need to be there, this is the system that'll help take care of it. So if you're in a Fucus moon, really think about your immune system. Think about, what are you allowing into your system that may be an invader, parasitic stuff. And this could be thinking processes too. Could be energetic invaders, right? Are you letting others into your energetic space that cause you wounds? So this is a good way to reset that. Use that Virgo full moon energy to really take a look at. This is another cleansing opportunity, right? For the Ophiuchus moon.
Yes.
Cleanse your energy. Cleanse what other things come into your purview that affect your personal health.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I would see the Ophiuchus moon. And yeah, Bach flower, aspen. I like that. I like that. And then, you know what? I'm not even going to suggest any foods. I'm going to encourage the Ophiuchus moon to just go with what you think feels best. Trust your intuition. Just ask yourself, what do I need to ensure I have no invaders, or to remove any invaders that are in my system, energetically or physically? Help guide me to the foods that would be best, and trust what
Yes.
comes.
Yeah.
Just trust what comes.
And
Trust in the unknown and inner peace. Right.
yeah, Ophiuchus moons might be sextile to the moon in
Mm,
this case. They could be in a sextile aspect to the moon, and so therefore in a trine to the sun. So sort of opposite of that Leo, there's that there is support for changing yourself on a cellular level, right? If there's something that needs addressing on a cellular level, like an autoimmune disease or cancer, again, this is me not being a doctor. Um, kind of just saying that those things that require a profound healing on a cellular level can be addressed with an Ophiuchus moon, especially if your moon is in sextile to this new moon. That's a
right.
huge opening to do some magnificently creative healing.
Yeah. Yeah, and explore, ask the questions of the people who you trust to guide you in these health decisions, right?
Exactly. Or ask somebody different, right?
Yes,
You know, this
yes.
might be the time when the Ophiuchus moon says, I have been dealing with this same problem, or rather, people have been telling me that I've had this problem for years, and nothing has changed.
Yep.
So, what do I need to do differently now?
Well, and that sun in the first few degrees of Aries is helping you see something from a new perspective.
And that's your new journey, right?
Yep.
That's your new journey could be, all right, I'm going to go off on a healing journey. I'm going to go off on a profound journey of healing in new ways,
Hmm.
because everything I've been doing before still has not healed this issue. And we might find A, it's not even an issue, or B, there is another remedy, there is another way that
Yeah.
it can be changed at a cellular level. And oh my God, how cool would that be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, as we're winding up the last few constellations here, I'd really be curious to know, those of you, when you're watching this, if you put some comments in as to how any of this resonated with you, or if you did explore something and what the result was. It'd
Yeah,
be really
please,
interesting.
feedback, please.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be amazing to know. Natal moon in Sag. So you're the butt people. I'm sorry, the glutes. Your thighs, your hips, your sciatic nerve. And then this also is your coordination, like your musculoskeletal coordination, your liver, and your neuromuscular system, right? So interestingly, that liver is kind of in there amongst everything. But
Sag is a happy drinker. That's okay.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Exploring all the different things
He's
and
a
then filtering
party
out.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the filtration system. Um, so for the benefit of that, asparagus, figs, apples, cherries, those are all good. And then your Bach flower, walnut. So I would take your a walnut tree, right? They flower,
Huh.
produce fruit. So try walnut, see how that sits with
Walnut flower. I don't know if I know what a walnut flower
you. Yeah.
is. Huh.
And then maybe
Oh, I
some
do black
B
walnut. Yeah.
complex as well. So that would be good. But you know, again, it's the coordination thing, right? It's that neuromuscular. How are the nerves talking to your physical movement of your body? Do you really stop and pay attention to that, or do you take it for granted? Some people may not, because they may have those mobility issues, or they suddenly have a challenge in their life. But if you take it for granted, do you do things to keep it healthy? Those of us that are on the kind of the other side of the age range realm, one of the things that we look a lot at from this perspective is balance work.
Yeah.
And that's really important for your coordination, because that's one of the things you lose as you get older. And we don't incorporate that in a deliberate way in, all the people that do things at the gym and, ride their bikes and do very deliberate physical fitness kinds of things. Balance work oftentimes is not included until it's too late. So I would encourage those of you that are on the other side of the spectrum in your 20s and 30s, perhaps, really, especially if you're a Sagittarius moon, what are you doing to ensure that your neuromuscular system is in balance, literally the physical balance?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's
Which
easy
is
to do.
which is way different from the internal balance of Libra, right? You know,
Hmm.
we're not talking about emotional balance. We're talking about how strong are the physical muscles that keep you from tipping over?
Right.
How supple is your body? How strong is your body? How well can you keep your balance
Hmm.
and therefore
Hmm.
keep moving through life with grace and ease? Which
Right.
is when you think about the horse part of Sagittarius, that is kind of important. It's a fire sign, but there is a physical component to
Yes.
Sagittarius. Big time. A physical, a sensual, you know, a graceful, if you
Yeah,
will, part.
yeah. And Libra, Sagittarius moons, you have an emotional need to explore.
Yeah,
You really want to explore from all different perspectives. And I think where the liver plays in is, do you filter out what doesn't sit with you, right? As you're doing that big exploration, the big philosophical, or even the big adventurous trip, do you energetically or metaphorically filter out? Your liver is your biggest filtration system in your whole body. Do you filter out the toxins in your belief systems
there it is.
or your higher truths? Or do you let people tell you what that should be? Trust again that internal voice, the moon. Trust that internal voice and don't let others tell you what you should believe, what your truth is. This is the time to really hone in on, what do I believe? And of course, with Pluto having done his dance through those stars, this is a big transformational time for all of us. And so you Sagittarian moons are probably feeling it even more so,
Yeah.
right?
That's it too, because your moon could be in square. Again, you could be conjunct Pluto to an extent. So you could be square to this full moon,
Mm-hmm.
conjoined to Pluto loosely.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can be sort of right in the power center of all of this, which is why that balance, that physical balance, that live grace, um, and the ability to filter out, because you can take in so many ideas, right? Like
Right.
like I say, if you take that to the social drinker as a metaphor, you can just sort of take in everything, 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 and ponder, 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 ponder. But eventually, you have to decide that stuff is not viable, right? You have to, yeah,
And be willing to change it up if need be, right? You may have believed or known something for all these years, and suddenly something in front of you says, nope, it hasn't been that way, and I'm going to show you why. So be open to the possibility that what you've thought all along may not be true, right? And that's up to you to discern though.
mm-hmm.
That's the key. I think that's the key in all of it. Here we go. Capricorn, you're all about the structure stuff, right? The skeleton, your skin, your outer layer of your foundation, your knees, your joints, your teeth, hair, nails, and then your systems are your parathyroid, gallbladder, and then the skin and skeletal system as a system, not just the physical representation of it, but how it functions, right? And that obviously makes sense. Capricorn's all about the foundational structures, right? So if your foundation isn't in good working order, well, you're going to know, right? If your skin is inflamed, your whole body feels it.
Yeah,
If your joints are inflamed, your whole body feels it. It's not just isolated to one area usually. Oftentimes it pervades your whole, sense of well-being. Um, and so for you Capricorn moons, um, we have cabbage, coconut, berries, iodine again, because you have the parathyroid in there. And then wild rose. Wild rose is one of the Bach flower remedies.
huh,
Wild rose. And
that's interesting.
as I'm thinking about it, why did that one strike me? Well, oftentimes we'll look at the structure of a rose and admire its perfection, right? Because of the way the petals start as a tight little bud and then they slowly open and they become this beautiful structure and it's beautiful all along until it's no longer. So
Hmm.
I think that's one way to look at it and see the beauty in its own wildness too, right? Um, and calcium, of course, is a good supportive nutrient to have too, because your bones, right?
Yeah,
Your structure, your bones. And you're again where the moon is depending on where in the constellation of Capricorn, you could be awfully close to that Pluto.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
You could be part of that T square as well. So feeling power. yeah, this can be, how do I want to put this? The challenge being to take the first powerful steps.
Mhm.
Is that how I want to put that?
Well, you
Yeah,
can't build the foundation if you don't take the first step, right?
that's it.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it. So you have to sort of start placing the rocks, as it
yeah,
were.
yeah.
I
And you have
I'm
to have
I'm
it.
having this sort of image is like Capricorn moon might be the one that goes out to, the riverbed and picks up a rock and writes on it something that it wants to be in the foundation. And
Oh,
and then goes to the river, picks up another rock and writes something else that it wants to be in the foundation.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Well, and the other thing, Capricorn moons can oftentimes be challenged in the fact that they'll hold their emotions back, right? Because they're fluidity and they don't have, this rigid structure per se. So oftentimes Capricorn moons may be the person that lets all that emotion simmer, 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 and then the pot blows, right? So
well,
I
yeah,
would
they're right across from Cancer. So yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I would encourage the Capricorn moon, this might be an opportunity for you to think about how can I express my emotions and still feel safe to do so, feel
Yes,
comfortable to do so, but you do it at the level that feels right to you, but don't hold them in because then you're going to find those issues with your knees, your joints, you may be somebody that is challenged by dental issues.
that's
So you
that's just
hold
yeah,
all that
because
stuff in.
Capricorn moon holds so much in.
Yep.
Capricorn moon holds so much. I mean, it needs Cancer opposite. Otherwise, it's like, you know.
Yeah, yeah, let the tears flow. I mean, that's what came to me is let the tears flow. There's your water.
Mhm.
Allow for this to happen. Okay, Aquarius, you moons have to look at your ankles, believe it or not. Don't get no kinkles.
Yeah.
Nerve impulses, again, as a physical health, what is the physical health of your nerves? And then your venous circulation, not the planet, but like your veins, and your parathyroid again, and your circulatory and electrical systems. So just as you can imagine, Uranus rules Aquarius, which is all about technology, your electromagnetic conductivity. This is how it works for you who have the moon natally in Aquarius. So you really want to make sure your nervous system physically and energetically is in good health. So this is
Hmm.
an opportunity. You may consider things like using grounding sheets, sheets that have the electrical wires through them, if you will, put them on your bed and use that as a way to balance your electromagnetic energy. No, it doesn't shock you. I have one. It's just a way to use the electromagnetic impulses to reset your body's electromagnetic frequency so that it's in harmony. So that may be something an Aquarian moon might want to consider. Um, and then lentils and eggs,
Oh,
oily fishes like sardines, salmons, things like that. Um, and then, ooh, interesting. Here's your Bach flower, Star of Bethlehem. I never knew.
that is interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And your omega 3s. You want to
Mhm.
have your omega 3s, right? Again, that conductivity. So, and an Aquarius moons can kind of just be sitting way up here somewhere and just kind of getting the lay of the land and not engage. You got to engage
Yeah.
because if you don't engage, the electrical circuits will turn off. You have
Yeah.
to turn the light on sometimes, right?
You you do got to engage.
Mhm.
It's true.
And what
So,
kind of aspects do you see with that one?
again, Aquarius you might be conjunct Saturn if your moon is
Oh,
in Aquarius.
yep.
And and that with this new moon, because this new moon is about becoming empowered, this might shed some light on where your emotional prisons are, right?
Mm,
So you And I know we're talking about the physical body right now. And because emotions so often get trapped in joints, get
Mhm.
trapped in joints. I mean, the movement of the bowels can indicate your digestive system can indicate sort of more immediate emotional states, but emotions very often get trapped in joints. And so this could be a real great time to clear out trapped emotions from those joints that
I'm I'm thinking like the nerves in the spine too, right? You get those
yes.
nerves
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
spine.
exactly. To make sure that energetically the electrical impulses flow through. I mean, it's a flow system, isn't it? And if
Mhm.
there's a kink in a hose, stuff doesn't flow.
Right.
So if you've got stuff preventing the flow of electricity,
Hmm.
i.e., sort of trapped emotions that are kinking your hoses, that I think might be something that you come up against. I shouldn't put it that way, but that moon moon conjunct Saturn right now might be. If your moon isn't conjunct Saturn, then you might be in a sextile and trine aspect to this sun
Yeah.
moon. It
You
could
know
be
what else?
yeah. What's
You know
that?
what else came to me is if you're not processing those emotions, you may not be processing them because you are actually numb to everything. And nerves
Yes.
have to do with tactile sensation.
Yes, because you've got a kink in your hose and
Right.
electrical impulses aren't flowing.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it could be really good for you to notice where there's tingling, where there's numbness, where you just can't bring yourself to feel
Yeah.
anything about it. Have you gone Vulcan in a certain area of your life where you could be like, watching somebody struggle with a flat tire on the side of the road and you're like, oh, this just doesn't even phase you. It wouldn't occur to you to help.
Hmm.
And that could be forgive forgive the value judgment there, but because of Aquarius, because your moon is natally there, you've got, I think, this tendency to want to emotionally connect to your fellow man.
Hmm.
Where are the places that is cut off from you? Where do you find
Right.
that you're not offering yourself anymore? You're not up for helping.
You know, what might be playing into that too is the Chiron in Pisces. You're feeling the pain of everybody else, so you shut down.
It could be, yes, or you've got a wound from being
Mhm.
rejected before. So that's what I mean. The
Yeah.
prison, that's why I say the emotional prisons. And they can come from any number of things. But that I think is what Saturn in Aquarius kind of points out, especially if your moon's there.
And it's an air sign. So air is about also thinking processes, writing, communication. So I'm going to ask a question purely out of ignorance. If there's an Aquarian moon who's struggling with this numbness sensation, like they can't even tune into it, is the process you offer through sacred writing a way that they could manage that?
Maybe.
Maybe.
What
Okay.
what the sacred writing is something that I write for you.
Right, right.
Yep.
But
So you and I would talk about this, like, oh my God, I've got this thing. And we talk about it, and then I would create a little kit that, contains the spell and
mhm.
the ingredients to do the spell so that could get some energy moving
Yeah, I was just thinking
there.
about it. It's like a communication. So air sign to open that flow of communication from that deeper level is kind of
Kind
what
of,
I
kind
thought
of.
of.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, that's it. Thank you for that, Julie. But it could be,
Well, I
yeah,
did.
it's something, yeah, that you can't tap into yourself. Maybe I can tap into it for you because,
Yeah.
I'm another
You're
human being.
numb because the
Because
Aquarius is numb and needs that assistance to open it
right.
up. Yeah. I don't know. It just was an intuitive hit. I was like, oh, I wonder if that would be a great way to do that. So, and an air sign, again, communication, writing.
Yeah. Well, and community based, you probably need
Yes.
help with it.
Yes.
Yeah, Aquarians are not great self healers because they're often blind to their own. They're often numb. They're often blind to their own deficiencies.
Well, and again, we have that support with Chiron conjunct Venus.
Yeah.
Get in relationship with somebody who can help you heal.
Yes.
And do you value that for yourself from a deep level, Pisces, right? So speaking of Pisces, so the Pisces moon, you've been busy. I mean,
Pisces moon just needs a vacation, is what Pisces moon.
yeah. So I'm going to suggest you take your feet and your toes and your body fluids and your brain stem and your pineal gland and your whole immune system and just walk out the door.
Right. Take
I
take
mean, quite
all of that,
literally.
all that stuff over to Tahiti.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of just seriously like, go take a walk. Use those feet and walk through all parts of your feet, right? Start from the heel and roll to your toes. Make sure you're using it's funny because I had somebody assess the way I walk and they go, you don't walk on your entire foot. I went, what? How the hell do you not walk on your entire foot? But ever since I started tuning into that, I'm like, you know what? She was right. So think about that if you're a Pisces moon. When you're walking, are you flexing your entire foot when you walk?
And are your feet making contact with the ground? Here's what
Yes.
Pisces moon needs more than anything is grounding because
Yep.
am I right?
Yep. 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 I would say, it's interesting because here we have nuts and seeds and root vegetables.
Yep.
All of
Yes.
those things that
Yet,
that earth
I
and
think
feed.
the biggest bodily challenge for Pisces is to get back in their body for Pisces moons because God bless you. Gonna you just spent so much time out of your body. You just do.
Yep.
You're in ethereal realms. You're in the spirit realm. You're in the emotional realm. You're in anywhere but in this. But it's so hard for a Pisces moon to be in their body, even though they're opposite Virgo.
Yep. Yep.
So just
Yeah. It's emotionally more comfortable,
it is.
the moon, right? And
Yes.
of the choices of the Bach flowers, the one that's calling to me to pipe up here is pine. You
Yeah.
imagine that beautiful tall pine tree rooted in the ground and you can smell the fragrance of it. And it really just pulls you right there,
Yeah.
physically right there.
Yes. And Venus is in your sign right now. So she can help you. She can help you ground. She can help you be in your body. She can help you enjoy your body. That's more than anything I want for Pisces moons right now, just to enjoy their bodies.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Find the funnest, the best thing about your body and being in it and do that. Do that a lot. Just get back in touch with your body and enjoy the fact that you have one.
Well, and Venus rules the five senses, right? It's the sensual, sensation and also digging in the dirt, right? So that is that real, it's the garden, right? So if you don't dig in the garden, literally dig in the garden of your senses. The next time you do anything that is deliberate, see if you can use all five senses in the process. Of course, the most obvious is having a meal, right? Because you can really use all five senses for that.
It
You
is.
know, you see it on the plate, you smell the aroma, you hear the crackle of the chip breaking or whatever it happens to be, you taste it. It's 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 a very sensual thing. So a Pisces moon, no matter what you're doing in these suggestions that were offered, really tune into the sensations of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Because you're if your moon's in Pisces, you're gonna be conjunct something. You're probably conjunct two somethings.
Or
And
six
it's just
somethings or five
it
something.
is. It is. And if especially if your moon is in between that place where Neptune and the North Node is, God love you. Right now you're just going to be having a hard time staying in your body. You're going to get amazing, emotional and spiritual upgrades, and and your psychic and oracular skills are going to be unparalleled, and we're all counting on you to be able to hold and deliver all of those messages that are coming from the great beyond. So you're able to traverse a realm that the rest of us struggle with.
Mhm.
But give yourself a break and enjoy the body once in a while, please. That's
Yeah.
my only beg of a Pisces moon, is that you're sort of taking it for all of us a little extra right now, and you deserve to enjoy life.
Yeah. Because we want your bodies all healthy so you can tell us what you've learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yep. Well, do you want to take the share off at this point and we can kind of
Sure.
close out with a few parting
Yeah.
thoughts? So again, we are not doctors, we are not nurses, we are not healthcare practitioners. We have different tools we bring to the tool chest. So anything we offered as a suggestion for your physical well-being, please use your discretion and your own personal professional advice as warranted. But again, I would really love to hear from people if you've tried some of these different things and
Yes.
see, or just how you're experiencing the full moon. This is the culmination of the energy from the eclipse.
Right.
So, yeah, yeah. So,
Right.
and
And
of course,
if
Dave and Big Poppy, know.
Dave and Big Poppy are all about empowering the individual. They're all about, let's start off this new journey in our most authentic, most optimistic way. I
Mhm.
mean, at the heart of it, that's what they're offering. Yeah, I know we're getting earthquakes and lava eruptions and the potential start of World War III. But but what they really, really, really are always trying to do is empower the individual. And it is up to us whether or not we grab onto that, or whether we continue to try to roll with that old paradigm that, how many times can you watch an old movie? Really?
Well, and I think if we harness the beneficence of Jupiter, not the extremism of it, but the beneficence of it,
Yes.
we've heard of the collective meditations, the butterfly effect, these kinds of things. I think if we as a collective, each individual in the collective of humanity really look at the beneficent side of it,
I
then we
mean,
have an opportunity to.
yes. The wish granter, that I am here to amplify what you're putting out. I am there to give you more of what you're asking for.
Mhm.
That is benefic AF. The question is, what are you asking for? And we're not aware of it. So that's all it takes, is a little awareness of what we're asking for, and the faith of the fool that it is coming our way, because Jupiter and Uranus essentially can't help it.
Well, I'd even invite it one step further, believe it's already here.
Yeah,
Because if we're always wanting it, it's always in front of us.
that's true. That's true.
Work and act as if it's already here. And I think that creates an incredible amount of positive energy out there. Not to be toxic positivity. I understand there's challenges in the world, but again, if we focus and orient our energy toward that beneficence of Jupiter
Mhm.
in our wanting to be authentically who we are, perhaps in the rebellious sense, then I think we have something there, right? And the Pluto transformation can be for the best of everyone.
Yes.
So on that note, I'm going to end our little recording here and wish you all a wonderful full moon. And let us know how it all goes for you.
Yeah, please report. Please report to
Yes,
us. Really.
yes. And if you're catching these replays, we'll post them on Radical Astrology, also on YouTube channels. If you are catching them on YouTube channels, yeah, I'm going to beat the drum. Please like, share, and subscribe so that we can get this information out to more people. We'd love to really help educate people about constellational astrology. It's time. Speaking of Uranus, it's time. So, all right, my dear friend, I'm going to call it a recording stop.
Sounds good.
See you
Thanks,
all on the next
everybody.
one. Thank you.